Hey everybody, this is Daniel with Bothersome Truth, and I want to tell a little story. You ever known somebody who they get asked an opinion on something, and they start talking, and they really think that they know what they're talking about? Like, they think they are nailing it. They think that they have it. Have you ever been around a person like that? Like, they start talking, they give you their opinions, their thoughts, they give you the facts and the figures. They say, well, I think this is a problem because of what happened in this time and this place. And they're talking and you're listening and you see in their eyes that they really mean everything they're saying, and they don't have a single clue. Not one. Well, that's what I noticed today when I listened to Clemson college football head coach Dabo Swinney talk about Colin Kaepernick. Now, I'm going to put a link in the comments to his the portion of the clip that I'm going to address, but I want to touch on a few things that he said. I've watched it a bunch of times today, and I would laugh if it weren't so depressing that he actually believes what he's saying. But I want to touch on this because I think it speaks to some of the criticism that other people are giving about Colin Kaepernick. And I'm not going to get into all of it now. Maybe I'll change my mind. But I want to touch on just what Dabo Swinney's saying because, yeah. So the first thing is they ask him how would he act if a Clemson player did on his team what Colin Kaepernick is doing in the NFL. So right off the bat, when you watch the clip, you'll notice that Dabo Swinney is almost like he doesn't even know who Colin Kaepernick is. Like, he barely gets his name right. And he says, like, I don't have a problem with what Colin Kaepernick is protesting. I just think he's not going about it the right way. So first, it seems like you barely know who the guy is. But then you say he's not going about it the right way. Now, I hear this from a lot of different people, and it's not just white people, okay? I hear from black celebrities, a couple different people saying he's not going about it the right way. So let me get this straight. Now, think about this. When you go and shut the streets down because people are getting killed without any accountability, that's the wrong way. If you were to go the violent route, which I don't endorse or support, you're going about it the wrong way. You have a press conference, as has been done in decades past, and you try to talk about these issues, you get ignored. Somebody takes something you say, they twist it out of context. Hey, there's a whole network, well, a couple networks, devoted to doing that. But then you decide that you're going to do a kneel down. It was a sit down. He amended it to a kneel down out of respect for the military. No credit for that. And so Colin Kaepernick is kneeling. And you have people who don't even understand the issues at play, and they say he's not going about it the right way. Well, I want to know what is the right way. What's the way that's acceptable to an ignorant person such as Dabo Swinney? Now, let's be clear. When I say ignorant, I mean a person who doesn't know the truth, who's not knowledgeable. He's not knowledgeable. I want to know. Tell me what's the right way. Okay, Jamel Hill on ESPN had a great breakdown of this. I'd like to know what was the right way to deal with Walter Scott when he was shot by police in South Carolina, which is where Clemson is, and he was shot running away from police, and they tried to plant a taser on him to make it seem like he was the one who instigated all of it. What was the right way to deal with that? In fact, did you have an opinion on that, Coach Swinney? Then Coach Swinney goes on to say that it causes more divisiveness in this country. This is amazing. Now notice, he's doing what a lot of people in the media have done. They breeze right over what the protest is about. Yeah, I know people are getting killed in the street and there's no accountability, and these black suspects don't get to be suspects at all. They're just judge, jury, executioner when they interact with the police, and they're killed for frivolous reasons, and nobody loses their jobs until recently. I know all that's going on, but Colin's the divisive one. Think about that. Think about the mind games there. Think about, it's not the people who are killing people who are being divisive. It's not the people who have racial prejudices that they won't acknowledge who are being divisive. It's the guy who kneels at the national anthem. And then Dabo Swinney says, that we have a sin problem, and then he brings up Dr. Martin Luther King. I'm going to flip these because I want to leave the sin thing for last. I want to bite into that one. So he brings up Dr. Martin Luther King and talks about Dr. Martin Luther King being for peace and love and tolerance. If you follow my Instagram, Daniel Troutman, and if you follow me on Facebook, you'll see that I posted about how Dr. King said that the shallow understanding of the well-meaning was frustrating to him over those who actually were opposing him. I'm paraphrasing. He talked about how the white moderates of his day, and still today as well, were frustrating him because they wanted order at the cost of equality and justice. And they were getting in his way. Dr. King talked about how, hey, I can take the guy who's part of the KKK and the White Citizens Council, or the White Council. He said, I can handle that because at least I know that they hate us. I know what they're about. But these people who are waffling, they're in our way. And let me also say this. I am sick and tired of hearing people talk about Dr. Martin Luther King as though he was the only one who marched, the only one who protested. What about Fannie Lou Hamer? What about all these people? Diane King. What about SNCC? What about CORE? What about NAACP? There were so many groups. Bayard Rustin, A. Philip Randolph. Go down the list. There were so many people who were involved in the work, male and female. You just keep latching on to Dr. King because honestly, with all due respect, I think if you really question them on civil rights, they don't know anything about it. Let me touch you to the last one. He brings up that America has a sin problem, that it's easy to call it a racial problem, but he says, no, it's a sin problem. Let me touch on this. Number one, no, it's not easy to call it a race problem because every time you try to bring up race, everybody throws it in your face and says, oh, you're playing the race card. Well, as Paul Mooney said, I didn't put the race card in the deck. You put it in the deck. Racism was created in this country to keep poor people from recognizing the ways that they were taken advantage of, starting before the Revolutionary War, and it's been repeated to today. It's a history lesson we could talk about another time. I didn't create racism. I didn't create black. I didn't create white. Our people didn't. We didn't even ask to come here. Those who were African slaves. So don't come to me and say, oh, well, you're bringing up race too much. No, you won't acknowledge it. You won't even acknowledge the existence of the issue. So yeah, we have to keep teaching you U.S. history, American history, racial history, because people like Dabo Swinney and Trent Dilfer and Jerry Jones and Drew Brees, and the list goes on, and Jerry Rice and Rodney Harrison don't actually know how race works in this country. So when you bring it up, you get these stupid, uninformed, ill-conceived thoughts and answers from people who have not thought this through. And I didn't call them stupid. What they said is stupid. So, speaking of stupid, let's go to the last thing that Dabo Swinney said. He said that this is a race problem. He said this is a sin problem in this country. Well, Dabo, who's committing the sins? It wasn't us who decided, hey, why don't we sail ourselves over to the USA and put ourselves in the worst slavery form that's probably ever been on the face of the earth? Why don't we lynch ourselves? Why don't we attack ourselves with water hoses? Why don't we just give black women away to be raped by racist white men? Why don't we mass incarcerate ourselves? Why don't we put ourselves into convict leasing? Why don't we take away our own rights? Why don't we just give our voting rights away? We didn't do that. So if you want to talk about a sin problem, you need to look at the people in history who have your shade, who did all this. I'm not talking about Dabo. Dabo didn't live back then. I'm not going to criticize him for stuff in the past. I'm going to critique what he said. So you want to talk about a sin problem? You tell me why America has a continuing sin problem that for some reason America loves money so much that it will take advantage of black and brown people, every color people that they can, poor white people, to take advantage of them for a profit. Please understand, he wants to quote the Bible. Let's quote some scripture. The love of money is the root of all evil. And that has always been the greatest love that America has had. The love of profit. And it is that love of profit that has led wealthy people to take advantage of men of all colors, women, Native Americans, Hispanics, Black people, Asian, Irish, German. You go down the list. People have been taken advantage of in this country. Why? For profit. So you want to talk about a sin problem, Dabo? This is what I tell you. Go open a book about civil rights. Go open your Bible and go see how condoning it was of slavery. Go look at the civil rights history and see how many people who were racist said that the Bible supported it. I get tired of listening to this level of ignorance. And I'm glad we're having these conversations. I know I'm long-winded, y'all. I'm almost done. Bear with me. I'm glad we're having these conversations because we get to see what these people think. But the problem is these people get in front of microphones and haven't done the work, haven't read a book on this. I read books all the time, study history every day so I can understand the context of the racial issues we have. I mean, if you want to, look at this. Look at these books. Look at these books. Okay? Because I want to understand what's going on and make sure I know what I'm talking about. But this man don't have to understand nothing. He just gets in front of the microphone, barely aware of the issue, and then decides that he's going to say what I can only politely classify as drivel. So Dabo, if you get this video, I want to tell you, please, nothing you said in there really made any sense. I'm just being honest. So, almost everything you said in the clip I saw was ill-conceived, poorly thought out, and maybe you said more that makes up for it, but I haven't seen it, and you need to have your PR department put it on the internet ASAP, because what I heard was really bad. Please go read a book about civil rights. Go read Walking in the Wind by John Lewis. Start there. Read Letters from a Birmingham Jail. It's not even a book. It's an essay. So you don't have to worry about it being too long. I know you don't have much time because you're coaching Clemson and y'all trying to do well this year. But please read about this issue. And if you have not done the reading, please keep your opinions and comments to yourself. Say, hey, I don't know a lot about this. I'll do some research. I'm focused on the next opponent. I'll get back to you. I'll take that. Because what you said was horrible. And all of you who think that he was right, you really are wrong. It is from a black man who understands race. If you have an issue if you want to understand this better, watch some of the other videos we've done. Keep watching what we're doing because we'll help you understand what this is really about from the perspective of somebody who's on the inside. Dabo missed it. I want to thank y'all for watching this video. I know it's long, one of the longest I've ever done, but I'm a long-winded dude, so I apologize. If you enjoyed what we did here, please leave a comment, share your thoughts. Tell me what you thought about this. I want this to be a conversation. It's not just me. Tell me what you thought. Share it with a friend. Let's have a dialogue on this channel because we can all learn from each other. I can learn from you. You can learn from me, I think. And on this, there's a lot of people who got something to learn about race in this country. You do. Just being real. This has been Daniel with the Bothersome Truth. Have a good night.